Hello duelists, Rustmarrow here, and today we are going to be opening the brand new structure deck in the Structure Deck R series, Surge of Divine Light. So this deck is based around the Fairy archetype as well as the CounterTrap mechanic, and it is a remake of the original structure deck, Surge of Radiance. So while Surge of Radiance featured a brand new evolution for Sky Knight Parshath known as Yugioh Parshath, this brand new Structure Deck R features a new evolution for Parshath on top of that, known as, you guys can see him right here, Angel Paladin Arch-Parshath. So with that out of the way, let's get this thing open. Alright, so here's what we've got inside the box. Starting off with something that comes with every single structure deck. I think it's the same for the TCG as well, but of course the official rulebook for the Yugioh OCG or TCG, and of course the obligatory deck mat, play mat. So let's flip this thing open. I don't think I'll be able to show you guys the whole thing at once in this space, but of course here we've got one of the new monsters. I think it's the Angel Sage, and then as we open it further, on the right we've got the Angel Sage, in the middle we've got the new Arch-Parshath, and on the left of the playmat should be, it's the third new monster in this set, which is a new fairy support monster as well. So we'll be able to take a closer look at these monsters once we get this deck open. Alright, so first let's go through all of the cards in this set. Starting off, we of course have the cover card, which is the Angel Paladin Arch-Parshath, looking really awesome in his ultra rare foiling there. I think his design is really a big jump from normal Parshath and Yugioh Parshath. I wasn't really a big fan of the two original Parshaths. Up next we've got Power Angel Valkyria, one of the newer cards. We saw her on the playmat just now. A new continuous spell card for Parshath, Sanctuary of Parshath, and here we have Resurrection of Parshath. And here we have one of the new cards, Angel Sage Manova. So that should be the last of the three new monster in this set. And now we're going through the reprints: Artemis, Ariadne, Evil Ariadne, of course, Archlord Christia. Here we have a Declarer, Ties of Brethren, Neo Parshath, the original Parshath, got Meltius, Harvest, Layered, the Splendid Venus. I'm not very familiar with a bunch of these cards because in my whole history of playing / collecting Yu-Gi-Oh, I've never actually been a big fan of fairy decks, so I can't really say to have actually ever touched or honest or even used any fairy archetype based decks. Okay, we've got this light coffin over here, DD, Sprite. Of course, the Sanctuary in the Sky. That one I definitely recognize. Of course, Valhalla. And here we are, the Trap cards. Synthetic Angel. Solemn. And ending things off with a wait a minute. We've got one more ultra rare in the back. I think I forgot about this guy, but even though he is a fairy type, but actually he looks more like an alien than a fairy to me. But this is a new card that's debuting in this deck as well, a support card for the deck as a whole. It's an alien called Eba. And ending things off, we have a token card. I really like how they are adding all these tokens to some of the structure deck Rs, and in this case we are getting the Synthetic Angel token. Alright, now let's go through the abilities of the brand new cards in this structure deck R, starting with the very first, Angel Paladin Arch-Parshath. So first of all, its first effect allows it to be summoned with relative ease in this deck, or a fairy / counter-trap based deck. If you activate a counter-trap card, or if you negate the activation of a spell, trap or monster effect while this card is in your hand or graveyard, except during the damage step, you can banish 2 other fairy monsters from your hand, field and or graveyard in order to special summon this card. So as long as your deck has a sort of fairy makeup and you use a lot of counter traps, and your whole goal of the whole mechanic of your deck is in order to negate the opponent's effects, this strong monster with 2800 attack is quite easy to summon. Second effect is if this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing damage like the other Parshaths. And also, when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can add a Parshath card or a counter trap card from your deck to your hand. So I think that with its first two effects, this card is pretty decent, but the third one is the one that makes it really powerful. So first of all, you can use it to recycle itself, or I mean the other Parshaths if you have other combos dealing with the other Parshaths as well. But I think the most important ability is its ability to refill your hand with counter traps. So first you use a counter trap in order to negate the opponent to get this guy out quite easily. And then after he deals damage to your opponent, you can get another counter trap in order to set up the exact same conditions in order to get another one of these guys out. And well, any card that lets you search counter trap cards is basically pretty powerful, I feel. So as far as like the cover card or the main card of the deck goes, this is a pretty solid card. Next up, we have Power Angel Valkyria. And if you negate the activation of a spell, trap or monster effect while this card is on your field, you can add a light fairy monster from your deck to your hand, but you can only use this effect of Power Angel Valkyria once per turn. So she's essentially the search engine for this deck. Once you got her on the field, she's just a level 4. You just need to activate one negation and then you can possibly pull your Arknight Parshath if he was not in your starting hand and get ready your high level, high power plays already. So this is definitely one of the core cards that will form the foundation of this deck. Pretty good. Alright, so up next we're going to look at a non-foil card. The third new main monster debuting in this structure deck are Angel Sage Manova. So similar to Power Angel Valkyria, she's sort of like a search engine. Each time a counter trap is activated, this card gains 500 attack immediately after it resolves. Also, if the Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field, add a counter trap card with a different name from the activated one from your graveyard to your hand. So first of all, with the first attack, especially since you'll be using this card in a counter trap based deck, with a 1700 attack for a level 4 monster, gaining 500 attack each time a counter trap is activated can make this card a very potentially powerful attacker in this deck. Especially if you have Sanctuary in the Sky on the field, then that's pretty much guaranteed that you can get a new counter trap every single turn in order to continue fueling this monster's attack while fulfilling the conditions in order to summon like Parshath maybe, or to trigger Power Angel Valkyria's effect as well. So you can see that the three new main monsters of this deck, all their effects, they're all search based, and by continuing to search, they continue to complement each other and trigger each other's effects. So this deck is already starting to look pretty powerful with its ability to search as well as its ability to counter and negate the opponent's plays. Up next, we're going to look at the spell trap card, starting with the continuous spell Sanctuary of Parshath. So first of all, this card's name becomes the Sanctuary in the Sky while it's on the field or in the graveyard, so straight away it can help you fulfill conditions for any cards that require Sanctuary in the Sky, especially that of Angel Sage. Also, all fairy monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense. Set spell trap cards on the field cannot be destroyed by card effects, and neither player can target them with card effects. So if your search engine and counter trap plays weren't bad enough already, once you've got this card on the field, this card basically ensures that your counter traps are non-destroyable before they're activated and makes your counter traps even more lethal to the opponent's deck. And basically there's not much they can do already. I mean, protecting them from destruction is already good enough, but then you're also going to prevent the opponent from targeting them. So the only way the opponent can get rid of them is pretty much like mass destruction of the spell trap cards on your field or on the field as a whole. And finally, once per turn, you can target 3 fairy monsters and or counter traps in your graveyard with different names. Place them on top of your deck in any order. Now, I feel that this final effect is what really pushes this card from good to like crazy, like sort of kind of halfway broken, just pushes it over the edge. Because I mean, considering the amount of cards you have in your deck, even though you want to put a lot of counter traps in your deck for this kind of deck, eventually you're gonna like run out or get low somewhere, especially if the duel gets really drawn out. But this deck essentially allows you to refill and get back the resources that you've already used and sent to your grave. But the worst part is you're allowed to place them on top of your deck in any order. So on top of the search engine that you have with the 3 main monsters of this deck, you also get to choose this continuous spell also allows you to sort of pseudo search by choosing what cards you want from your graveyard and putting them on your deck in the order that you want, so that they'll come to you in your next draw. And that is just, I think that's really dangerous as well, and that makes this a really powerful semi-broken card. You of course have a Parshath counter trap card to support the deck as well. When a spell trap or monster effect is activated, reveal a counter trap in your hand, discard 1 card and pay 1000 life points. You can negate the activation, and if you do, shuffle that card into the deck, then you can special summon a Parshath monster from your deck or extra deck. So first of all, just by having this CounterTrap, it allows you to easily meet the conditions for negation, which allow you to trigger the effects of the 3 main monsters of this deck and any other monsters whose effects would activate when your opponent's spell, trap or monster effect is negated. An important part of this effect as well is instead of destroying the opponent's card, you get to shuffle it back into the deck. So just in case it's a spell, trap or monster that can continue to use its effects in the graveyard or has additional effects to use in the graveyard, you can make use of this deck in order to get rid of that risk and danger as well. And finally, you can special summon a Parshath monster from your deck or extra deck. So of course, you could get your Arch-Parshath from your deck out in order to continue searching for more counter traps like this one. Or if you really want to search into your extra deck, I guess the only target is the Parshath Synchro monster. Although it's not very good, but I guess it'll come in useful as like to have an additional beater on your field as well. So this is quite a legit counter trap as well, although I would think that there are many other options that you can play around with, so it's not a must, but it is an interesting card that can definitely contribute and support to the deck. And finally, we've got the 4th additional monster that comes with this deck as a sort of add-on, Levada Alien. So first of all, this card is a really interesting card because its effect goes really well with the mechanic of the Declarers or the Heralds, as you guys might know. So basically, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can banish up to 2 other light fairies from your field and or grave, and add from your deck to your hand level 2 or lower light fairy monsters with different names, except Eva, equal to the number of monsters banished, and you can only use this effect of Eva once per turn. So basically, you can discard Eva as a cost to activate one of your Herald/Declarer effects in order to negate the opponent. And of course, remember that once you've got the negation down, that opens up the activation conditions for like Arknight Parshath summon, as well as some of the other monsters and cards in this deck as well. And if you're going to discard Eva, then you're instantly going to be able to add 2 level 2 or lower light fairy monsters from your deck to your hand, which can be a new Herald, which you can then sort of recycle and reuse in order to trigger the negation effect again. And of course, since that effect will require a discard, the second monster, level 2 or lower monster that you get with this draw, like with this search, can also be treated as the cost for that. So essentially, you're getting another free Herald. So it's definitely an interesting card, but personally, I don't feel like it's not like too powerful a card, but it definitely has an interesting mechanic that if used right can definitely devastate opponents and help you maintain your plays and field advantage while disrupting your opponent's plays. So with that, that'll be the end of this Structure Deck R Search of Divine Light opening. Hope you guys enjoyed it and enjoyed watching the Fairy and Counter Trap deck mechanic return to the game. So of course, talking about upcoming Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG releases, next month in about the middle of the month, we'll be releasing the new main booster set in the Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG series, which I'm really excited about, Extreme Force. And of course, the cover card for that set has already been revealed to be Yusaku's new Talker, X-Code Talker. So that'll be the 3rd Talker we are getting after Decode Talker and then Code Talker. So make sure you like this video and subscribe if you want to see that opening next month. And with that, hope to see you guys in the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. Let's access the spinning, swirling data storm, and with the wind our hearts are made to the